it might come out to be one of the best competitive games this week, but you've got two teams. I mean, we know what the Patriots situation is. It just seems like they're just waiting for the divorce. Like they just haven't told the kids yet. They just wait until school to be over. Speaking of Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. And then you got Pittsburgh, which I haven't talked about, but you've got reporters and you've got fans and stuff that are questioning and starting to want to change for Mike Tomlin. Are we serious? And part of me, I feel like that, in my opinion, that's part of the media in that area that's conjuring that up and writing about that, and the fan base of the Steel Curtain and the terrible towels that's feeding into that. They want to become the modern NFL. They see all these franchises making changes and this and this. Well, if we ain't winning for a couple of years, let's change. And they don't realize who they're rooting for. I mean, the franchise has had 3 coaches in its history. So to me, it's crazy. I mean, a lot of it has to do, I think, in regards to the offensive identity. And it's just one of those that, you make a change in the offseason and you go into camp and you go into mini camp, you go into OTAs and you say, this is who we're going to be and this is our post personnel and this is the type of offense that we're running. You can fire a coordinator mid-season or during the season, but the reality of it is that you are, who you start to plan in to go into the season with. You can't make that drastic changes and all of a sudden have a new different system. And I think that's part of their struggles. The quarterback, I know people are questioning Pickett. People are wanting to see even if they got the guy, if he's the guy. It's just one of those, I doubt it very seriously. And to me, he would be unemployed for 3 minutes. If he wanted to continue to coach, I think Mike Tomlin would be excellent in TV, by the way. But I don't really see him that, and I don't think he shows any signs of wanting to quit coaching anytime. But I would put that in it's funny, they're playing them tomorrow, the Patriots and Belichick, because I would put Pittsburgh and Tomlin in the same situation. Whenever that time comes, and it's the Rooney, I don't think it's going to have anything to do with a firing. It's going to be more of a situation just like Coward, just like, hey, mutual, I'm ready to step down or whatever. But I don't think we're close to that. I mean, they haven't had one losing season under him, and fans and media down there really question, is it time to move on? Crazy. What do you got?
Well, the one thing with that, and I've heard reports too that the better, I guess approach could be to trade Tomlin if there was really to be a separation, because it's better to get something for him than nothing. Right. If you were going to move on, but it kind of reminds me of the Cowboys situation, because your last Super Bowl appearance for the Steelers was 2010. Your last Super Bowl win was 2008. And ever since then, it's been, you've gotten to one conference championship game since then. And yeah, sure, you finish at, a 500 record. But what's the Cowboys joke? It's an 8-8. All right, so you're stuck in, and that's where they feel like they're stuck in, as you said about the Spurs for a handful of years there since post-Kawhi, is they're just stuck in no man's land. And now you're stuck in no man's land without a star quarterback. It doesn't, and just like up in New England, there doesn't appear to be an answer at quarterback. You're wasting T.J. Watt's prime. You're wasting Minka Fitzpatrick's prime. Is I guess the notion. And then you were slow to move on from Matt Canada. Now I too think they would be crazy to move on from Mike Tomlin, and that's coming from somebody who grew up in Cleveland, or in the Cleveland area rather.
Right.
Okay, so I think they would be crazy to do so, but I think that the narrative and the desire for change, because it's just you don't see anything down the road, that's where you hear the discontent.
Well, I would tell you this. I would pump the brakes on comparing it to Dallas, because you named at least one in there. We're talking about a 20-some-year, 25-year drought for Dallas for not even being in a conference championship game. When I look at now the difference between Pittsburgh and these two, New England, what they're going to play tomorrow on Prime Amazon, get ready for Al Michaels. I wonder what he got to say about this matchup. There's more talented. If it's based off everything you're saying, or that's the narrative of the fans or the media up there, then I would say get a new GM then. It ain't Tomlin. And number two, I would sit there and say their roster is way more talented than New England. Now, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, because you have one bad team and you got one team that's struggling to find an offensive identity. Pickett's out. Most likely it's going to be Trubisky. I mean, the year of the backup quarterback, Trubisky versus what's my man from New England?
Bailey Zappi.
Bailey Zappi. Yeah, Bezos didn't put that in the plan during the scheduling or the NFL. But that's where we're at. Pittsburgh's roster is way better than New England. So this is, to me, it's a thin line with the no-mans. I just feel that, it's fair to say, okay, well, you're hovering around just being average. You haven't below 500. You're right there. You finished the 9-9, 8-8, whatever. I get it, but I would say if it's based off of what you're saying, then fire the GM. Unless Tomlin feels like the message is stale, because I stay consistent with that across the board. I believe, there is the truth in sports that a coach, I don't care how good you are, if you stay somewhere so long, it can get staled and watered down. But I think it's just Pittsburgh because the expectations are so high and they are frustrated and they see this new way of NFL. I mean, hell, SI.com had an article today. Is this becoming the new norm in one and done coaches, like 1 year done coaches? I'm like, wow, I hope not. So that's where I think Steeler Nation's coming from.